The sound you hear is what some experts claim to be a Bigfoot scream. Recorded in the state of Washington by a group of campers in 1971, it is regarded as the highest quality audio of the creature ever captured.
Hello, welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. We're glad to have you stop by. We'd also like to take this time to invite you to share your encounter. You can send your stories to the email bfrealencounters@mail.com, where we will feature your story with all of the respect that it deserves. So send your stories in, bfrealencounters@mail.com. We look forward to hearing from you and your great stories soon. Hello and welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. I'd like to welcome all of our new viewers as well as returning viewers. This is the safe place to tell of your encounters with the hairy giant, the forest giants, the wood boogers, the Sasquatch, whatever you'd like to call them, Sabe, all these different names, and many, many more. This is the place to share your encounters, give out the different details so that all of us can learn more and more about those who share the earth with us. Now is the best time in history to bring out your encounter, tell the stories. People are hungry for the stories. Look at all the Bigfoot shows on television. All the different channels that have the Finding the Bigfoot, Search for Bigfoot, Survivor Man Bigfoot, all these different shows on television, as well as the many, many YouTube channels on the same subject. So, send in your encounters. bfrealencounters@mail.com. I'll read your encounter. You will not be made fun of here. You will be believed, and it's important. Many people who encounter the Bigfoot get symptoms similar to PTSD, if not outright PTSD. It is a harrowing experience most of the time. Once in a while, there's a friendly, pleasant experience, but usually it is not, and it has lingering effects. So, tell your stories. We know from other channels, people who get this off their chest feel better about it. So here's your opportunity. We are still going state by state. Today we're going to take a look at Mississippi, Lauderdale County, 1977. This one reads, when I was 8 or 9 years old, my sister, some friends, and I were swimming in a small water hole, more like a wide spot in a creek, behind the military housing, probably about 400 yards into the woods. I wasn't swimming, I was sitting down at the side of the water hole with my feet in the water, but kind of drawn up beside me, and my sister was sitting between my legs in the water. We were all just playing around, being pretty loud, and I don't know if I heard something, caught some movement out of the corner of my eye or what, but my attention was drawn to a large bush on the other side of the swimming hole. I sat there staring at this bush for a good 30 or 40 seconds, maybe a full minute, before I realized what it was I was seeing. There was a face looking at me from behind or between some branches. The face was very big, flat, dark brown, almost black. Eyes were black. I thought at the time that the eyes were looking at me with curiosity or amusement. It didn't look evil, menacing, or, well, you know. I don't remember a mouth or nose. I remember the hands being huge, gigantic, the size of baseball mitts. It seemed like I was looking at it for minutes or longer, but couldn't have been that long. And all of a sudden, I was just terrified. I picked up my sister and screaming, ran out of there, and everybody just followed me out. I was the only one who saw it. My friends wanted to know why I was so scared. I told them it was Old Man Walker, a hermit who supposedly lived way back in the woods and would shoot at you if he saw you. And they were okay with that. I didn't want to believe what I saw, but it definitely was not an old man. I found it very comforting to know I was not the only one to have seen something so frightening. Thinking about my encounter, I was in no way threatened, and I don't know why I was so frightened, but to this day, I still wake up with nightmares. Thank you. And that's what I was just talking about, folks. This was not a scary encounter. He said that he wasn't scared at the time, but all of a sudden, the fright came over him, and nothing, it didn't chase him, it didn't make noises or anything. It looked amused, but he has nightmares over it. These encounters affect people, okay? And I'm convinced that it affects people because we have been told all our lives that they don't exist, when they actually do. Now, had he been told since a younger time that these beings were out into the forest and to be aware of them, when he looked over and saw it, he might have been startled, but then it would have crossed his mind, oh, that's a Sasquatch. Okay, he's watching me. Fine, maybe we should leave. It might have gone down differently, but it went down how it went down. If you're having trouble with stories bothering you from encounters that you've had, you can send your story in, get it off your chest. That's one method. I've also created a private group on Facebook, Bigfoot Anonymous. It's a private group. Anything that is posted up in Bigfoot Anonymous has to stay there. That's part of the group rules. I don't harvest any stories out of there. I just won't do it. It's specifically for people with encounters to hook up, talk about your encounters. Maybe you can come up with resolutions. Maybe people with ongoing encounters can discuss things with other folks and come up with a solution. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. You can use the video chat rooms or other chat rooms on there to discuss things with each other and, get some things solved. But it's there for you. Bigfoot Anonymous. It's a Facebook group. It's private. Check it out. Use it. It's to help you. Okay, folks? And if you wish to have your encounters go to, to the story like the format that I'm using here, like I said, I'm not going to pull them off of there. You'll have to email them to me, bfrealencounters@mail.com. When they come into that email address, I know that you're intending for it to be put up on the YouTube channel. That way, there's no accidental, oops, sorry, I didn't know you meant that to be private, okay? All right. Like, share, subscribe. Let's get this channel growing. Let's get the information out to as many folks as possible so that when encounters do happen, you're not like, what was that? You're like, oh, it's one of those, and this is my next few steps. All right? So, like, share, subscribe. Check out the links in the description below, and let's find some other encounters here. Okay, our next one here is from Panola County, fall of 1997. It reads, Panola County, near the town of Batesville, Mississippi, a Bigfoot was spotted on a country road on October 16, about 12:30 a.m., 1997. Approximately a week later, footprints were found near Tupelo, Mississippi, and reported on the Tupelo News. There was a close encounter with this creature for about 5 minutes. The creature proceeded to cross the country road and came to a halt in front of my car. I viewed the creature for a moment trying to identify what I was viewing. I then brightened my lights, and this appeared to anger the creature. Then it proceeded toward me quickly to my car and bumped into the car, causing the car to move backwards, and was leaning on my hood, screaming a very high-pitched sound. I was so terrified, I was finally able to get my car in reverse and get around him, which was obvious it was a male. The creature seemed to be about 8 feet tall and may have weighed 400 pounds. This creature had black hair all over, about 2 or 3 inches long. The face and chest area were bare. The skin seemed to be a grayish tone. It had a greenish yellow eye glow. The face was wrinkled with a broad nose. The head was pointed and appeared to have almost no neck, very broad shoulders and large muscles. As I managed to get around the creature, I could still hear it screaming in the distance. This is an event that will be with me the rest of my life. Well, I guess so. There's your scary one, folks. Come up and bumped up against the car and then leaned against the hood and looked in at him and just screamed at him. They don't like to be sighted, and when he turned on those headlights, that really seemed to set the thing off. My goodness. So keep that in mind, folks. If you see one in the road, don't turn your high beams on. Goodness. I think I gotta turn it around and put it in reverse and try to get out of there too. That was a short description of one, rather succinct also, but another details that we haven't heard before, and some different behaviors in the creatures. And let's see if we can find another one here. I'd just like to say once again, I'm reading these encounters off the BFRO website, going state by state. And if I happen to be reading your encounter that you submitted to the website, I want to hear from you. I would sure love to have additional details, as well as maybe you have some additional encounters to add to it. So hit me up, bfrealencounters@mail.com, especially if this is your encounters that I'm reading. Now we've got another one here. It's from 1968 in Lowndes County, Mississippi. It reads, I just read the Louisiana encounter on your site and thought it great that someone else had seen a white Bigfoot. I've not told anyone outside of friends about my experience, although there were plenty of others around at the time. This encounter happened, about 30 years ago in Columbus, Mississippi, and several of the neighborhood kids were out playing in my front yard. I was the oldest, so the rest of the dozen or so kids were 4th grade and earlier in school. All of us were playing tag, and to make things level out for the younger kids, we all were turning round and round to get dizzy so the younger kids could have a fighting chance of catching us. All of a sudden, my youngest brother ran through the group yelling, "Booger bear." He looked totally scared to death. I thought he was joking. But then my next brother did the same while pointing toward the unoccupied side of the duplex apartment house. Soon I looked around to find that I was the only one left in my front yard. The rest of the kids had run to where the parents were outside chatting next door. All of them were holding on to his or her parent. Well, I looked down the street and saw nothing unusual. Looked again, both ways, same result. As I was turning back toward them, my eye caught a movement beside my duplex. Something was standing at the corner, hugging it as though to peek around the corner. It appeared to be slightly hunched over, and yet the top of its head was at the top of the window. The top of the window was about the 7-foot plus level. Could have been higher. One day I might get a chance to measure it, because the house is still there today. Although the neighborhood is not where I would care to be at any time nowadays. Anyway, I stood there looking, trying to figure out what this white hairy thing was. Earlier in the year, maybe a couple of months, been a long time ago, there was a report of a white gorilla that had escaped from a circus. Thing is, kids know when a circus is around in those days, and I had never heard of one being anywhere near. It was just standing there, slightly moving, kind of side to side. Since it was at dusk, I couldn't really tell what this was that I was looking at. I slowly backed over to the grown-ups area. Eventually, the thing was hidden from my view by the house. I eventually worked up enough courage to make a wide arc toward where I saw it to see if it was still there. Nope, it was gone. I had a terrible time sleeping that night. Didn't want to be anywhere near a window, even though we had no AC and it was warm weather. Next morning I went to the area just to see if I could find anything. Nothing. I was never late for supper again, never stayed out after dark, etc. The experience is real, though I have questioned my brothers about it and they remember nothing. Perhaps it was the grown-ups playing a joke? They, of course, deny any knowledge. This is my only Bigfoot story, though I have a couple of others that may spark some interest, one of which defies any rational explanation. And there we go, folks. We have yet another peeking Bigfoot watching children play. This is not an uncommon theme. This happens a lot. Many times, children playing, laughing, and get the attention of these creatures. And they like to stand behind trees, or in this case, the corner of a building, and watch the children play. Kind of creepy. Especially when we know sometimes children disappear. Makes you wonder if it's them or some of the other things that are out there. And the other things are really not as nice as the Bigfoot. That's for certain. So there we have it, a white Bigfoot. This is taking place a long time ago, back in, what did I say? Oh yeah, 1968. Lowndes County, Mississippi. Not nearly as scary as the previous story where that thing was screaming in the guy's face, leaning on his car. But another type of, a different type of action from a Bigfoot. Well, thanks for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe. Check out the links in the description below. Don't forget to visit and possibly join Bigfoot Anonymous. Be safe out there, folks, with the rest of your summer when you're hiking, picnicking, fishing, camping, maybe hunting outside, and be aware of your surroundings and listen for that branch cracking behind you. We'll see you in the next one. Once again, another great story. Thanks for tuning in. Please share your encounter. Email us, bfrealencounters@mail.com. Your story is very important. We will treat it with the respect that it deserves. Also, be sure to smash the like button, share, and subscribe. Thanks once again. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Watch out for our next video. Maybe we'll feature yours. Have a great day.